Before we get into the pod today's the quick word, because a few of you are loitering on the page, watching the clips, watching the full episodes, but not hitting subscribe. We need you to hit subscribe. That helps us get better guests, which makes it for a better viewing experience for you. So before you watch this episode, please go on the YouTube page, hit subscribe.
No offense, but it's time you fucking pay the piper. All right, leave a fucking like, leave a fucking comment, and subscribe. None of these fucking lurkers, because we're fucking bleeding money out of our fucking ass.
Coming up. Have you ever slept with an infidel?
I have.
Is that a sort of saucy fantasy for Muslim women?
No, we're usually trying to get them to convert.
You said in your book that wearing the headscarf scares off dick, right?
It does. I heard bad things about.
Oh, okay. Jesus Christ. Now we're cooking with gas. We would never
Stop me from.
cancel this podcast because you say you like to enjoy a plate of jizz.
So God doesn't see hair colour?
No.
That's nice.
That's very nice.
I'm so repressed. I am so repressed. I need a white savior. Oh no, you're going to use that and it's going to go viral for the wrong reasons.
Let's hope so.
Welcome to the pod, Sadia.
Hi.
Thank you so much for coming on. It's an absolute honour to have the writer of this book, Sex Bomb. I read it in a week, and that's about a year quicker than I normally do. Beautiful book. Beautiful book. Lovely stories. Well, I'm very excited. Tony's excited as well, of course.
Well, I mean, it's a pleasure to have you here. I don't know if you know about the podcast, Bad Boys Done Good. We're trying to get a range of guests talking about a range of issues. We thought you'd be a perfect guest because of a lot of our audience. You may not know. A lot of incels, a lot of unemployed, very, intellectually challenged people. And sadly, unfortunately, we got a lot of white guys.
Okay.
So we wanted to talk to these white people and sort of explain, because you talk about white guys a lot in this book.
I kind of do. I do.
Sadia,
Hi.
the book is called Sex Bomb.
Right.
And I've read the book from top to toe, and there's not a lot of sex, and there's not a lot of bombs.
No.
I feel a little bit like I've been mugged off. I spent $12.99 on the book, thinking I was going to get a little cheeky wank out of it, at least.
You fucking did a wank to my book.
There's very little sex in there, Sadia.
It's very interesting you say that. I've had some people say there's too much sex, and I've had some people say there's no sex. So I can understand where you're coming from.
But there was no bombs. Was that a
no...
last-minute editorial decision?
I think there were a few bombshells.
Oh, okay.
And
that's the writer.
The reason I called it Sex Bomb is because Muslim women aren't portrayed in a very rounded way. Like, we're always kind of stereotyped to be repressed. Could we be a sex bomb is one of the kind of rhetorical questions I'm asking the audience. And also, I talk about sex bombs as in, like, things that one night stands that don't go well.
Yeah. Essentially, you bring up Muslims. We had a few questions about Islam.
Okay.
We were reading. I did a lot of
You
research.
should convert, Tony.
Well, that's what I found out. Well, apparently, everybody is a revert, not a convert. So we're already a Muslim. You're a fucking Muslim.
Apparently so.
What are you going to do about it?
I don't feel like a very good Muslim.
Well, I don't either. How do we become better Muslims?
That's a great question. And the thing is, God is like really good at forgiving. So it's just like we're all trying to be better. So,
right.
There's no, we're not going to be perfect.
I'd say some of my favorite Islamic scholars, I would say number one, DJ Khaled. He was good. Number two, got to be Guz Khan. Number three, bit surprise, Gary Lineker. Number three.
Is he?
He's an ally, isn't he?
Is he a revert?
Well, he talks. You wouldn't think it, but he talks a lot. Anybody who didn't know him, you might think he's just a fucking jughead, potato shilling, multi-millionaire. But the guy is actually a huge human rights activist. He talks a lot in support of Muslims. He speaks for people who Muslims who may not even follow Islam, like the white guys.
You know what? I find him really annoying.
Do you?
Gary.
Yeah.
You distance yourself from him, do you, as a Muslim?
Gary's a good guy.
It's a real tricky question you're asking me there. But what it is that I feel like he's one of those guys that wants to look good in a situation, and kind of like he kind of enjoys the trauma that he's trying to protect us against. He's a bit warped.
He's getting a vicarious sort of pleasure out of the trauma of the people.
I mean, just give money, because there's people in England that probably need help. Why doesn't he care about the people in this country?
Good question. I particularly enjoyed your chapter about feminism. You really come to life. The last 2 chapters, very passionate.
Thank
the
you.
feminist chapter, you talk about yourself being fetishized by white feminist women
Yes.
and how you have much more to lose by becoming a feminist than they do. What do you mean by that, Sadia?
I mean, again, like the Lineker example is like I don't mean to trivialize their lives, but like some of them have
Feel free.
some of them have a lot of free time and they want to look good and they're doing things for the likes and whatever not, but they're not doing any listening, and feel like it was a mistake when I was young to feel forced to embrace feminism, and that feminism is flawed like any other ism, you know, apart from Islam. Obviously that's not an ism.
Well, that's not an ism.
But no, exactly.
That's an
yeah.
arm.
But yeah.
Islamism is an ism.
Right.
That's the wrong word, yes.
That's a white woman version of saying Islam.
Because I think we're living in a time that's the aftermath of all of that, where people aren't able to put their opinions across, and white men have problems like anybody else. Some of your listeners.
Yes, we do. Thank you for acknowledging that. That's appreciated, Sadia.
It's true.
We had a couple of feminists on the show. They never mention our suffering.
They don't. They're very disparaging. I mean, I'm not going to be as dignified as you. I think the white feminists are a fucking disgrace.
In your book, you talk about white people a lot.
Right.
It's a generalised term, and I felt a little touch offended by that because
But
I
you're
feel
a star.
so. If you talk about white people as in a sort of generalised white people this, white people that, if we came on the pod, Tone, and started talking about brown people this, brown people that, Spotify would probably take us down. Why is that?
I just, you know what? I don't mean it in a hateful way. It's very hard to hate the white race. I have tried, but I think it's in the absence of being able to kind of talk about the elephant in the room, which is power.
Right, and have a swing.
Yeah.
And you also mentioned Short Circuit in your book.
I did.
I don't know if you noticed, Short Circuit too, Fisher Stevens, the actor, he browned up for the role. Did you know that?
I was a kid.
That
I
guy
love
was
that
in
movie.
Succession playing a fucking white guy. In Short Circuit 2, he's playing a brown guy. How do you feel about that? Cultural appropriation in that way.
Look, I don't care. Like, it was a great movie, and I don't always want people to tell me how I feel. I watched the movie as a kid and I wouldn't have spotted it. I didn't know until you just told me. It doesn't mean I have to go back and reinvent my childhood, like, you know, fantasy with the movie.
You wanted to be banged by Short Circuit?
No, but it was cute. It was like a little robot that meant,
Hey, Johnny
wow.
Five was fucking adorable. My favorite thing, I don't know if you saw number 2, Johnny Five, when he goes in the big city. When Johnny Five, he gets arrested because he's in the library. He's reading. Yeah, I get a bit emotional talking about it. He goes into the library and he reads a lot of literature, and he reads very fast, Johnny Five, and he gets arrested, and he just. Sorry, it upsets me. They thought he was getting controlled elsewhere by remote control, but Johnny Five was fucking alive. There's no disputing that. Anybody can fucking see. Johnny Five was alive. He had a trench coat on. He was reading in the library, but he still got pinched.
Do you
What are
guys
you
like
trying to-
sex robots?
Oh, big fan. I'm trying to get some sex robots introduced to the Bing.
This is my biggest fear, is that the
Right.
guys are going to go to the sex robots.
Don't worry.
Instead of you.
Nothing will replace an analog vagina.
Guys will fuck anything. I've
Exactly
been told
right.
that by guys.
Well, that's
Believe
not
me, I've
true.
certainly tried.
I've got standards. I mean, again, that's a
Ray,
generalisation.
come on. I've seen.
What's
I've
your
I've
seen
got
feedback?
standards. What does sex positive mean for you, Sadia?
I think it means owning your sexuality and like embracing, you know, sex for yourself, and not feeling like you have to live up to external society standards of being sexy. Like, I may not have big giant jugs, but I'm still sexy.
So if I go to the brass, I'll go away a lot. I always like to go into town wherever I'm filming, get myself a nice brass, engage with the local culture. Is that all right?
No.
Why is that not all right? Why is that not sex
Because-
positive?
Does Elaine know?
Well, I mean, she knows something's going on, but
You got an arrangement.
she...
They got an arrangement. He's very progressive.
I'm from the old school, right? A woman would turn a blind eye. That's part of the deal. If you want the lifestyle, you turn a blind eye.
And let's talk on the subject of sex. There's a lot to get into it. You say the first sexual awakening you had was discovering Asian babes in the magazine rack. And it was seen as a taboo at the time, Asian babes.
Yes.
What would you say a taboo is now? Because people have moved on from magazines.
It looks like the taboo is talking about stuff, because like there's so many people like doing things like that would have been considered taboo, like BBLs. You must have been hearing about these and stuff like
What's a BBL? Big?
Brazilian.
Black. What?
Brazilian butt lift.
Oh, we could cut that part out. Brazilian butt lift.
Yeah, but even that's not taboo because it's really like widespread, literally. So I think the taboo is calling things out these days.
So the equivalent of Asian babes is now calling things out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, boobs. There's even 6 tits in the word boobs. I don't know if you know that. Boob.
Right.
2.
Right.
And another one there. Another one there. Boob. That's 6.
Well
That
spotted.
just shows you.
Well spotted, Tone.
I mean, I did a bit of research for this because I knew you're a Muslim lady. And I wanted to see if the space had
The
become more welcoming.
downside.
But get this. There's a porno website. It's specific to the Muslim experience. Radical Islam. I found it myself. And I think that some of these sites, they might not mention the inspiration, but it's there. You know,
Could you
like
tell me what type of porn they have?
50 Lashes, BDSM stuff. I think that's got some influence from the Islamic world, perhaps. You know?
Now, you lost your virginity at 27. You must have been climbing the fucking walls by that stage, Sadia.
Yes, I guess I was. There's a lot of hype about sex.
Have you ever slept with an infidel?
I have.
Yeah.
Oh.
Is that a sort of saucy fantasy for Muslim women?
No, we're usually trying to get them to convert.
So if you slept with an infidel, would that be in order to get them alone so you can tell them the good word?
I wouldn't use that term on anybody. Sometimes the bad boys, literally they're bad, isn't it? Anyway, so they can be a little enticing, but I've grown and matured and I'm trying to like find goodness in nice guys now.
There's a lot about Ray J in the book. This lad you met at a gym, you describe his abs, you smelling his wrists, you fancied the pants off him, you knew he weren't right, but you had no experience at that point, so you were drawn in. The way he treated you weren't nice. And we were both furious. That scene where he takes you out on that one fucking date to the Chinese.
I know.
And it's the place where no one's at. It's in Forest Gate, for fuck's sake. I was seething. I know Tony said you shot the book at that point.
I shot the book itself. That's how furious I was to see it disrespected in that way.
Oh, I'm so grateful.
So can you tell us where Ray J is now? Because I know Tony would like to send some people down, just have a little chat with him about it.
Listen, I wish I could tell you where he is, but I blocked his number.
Good for you.
Good for you. Good self-care.
Yes,
You said in your book that wearing the headscarf scares off dick, right?
it does.
My question is this. Surely the guy in question is respecting your choice of headwear. That's the same reason I'm not trying to bang a nun. I know.
And that's good. That's good.
But
But
you understand the duality I'm saying. You want the dick,
course.
but the dick is kind of
Backing off.
apprehensive.
The dick is backing right off.
The dick will
the
back
hijab
off.
is working for sure. Like the hijab is like 100%. Like you don't even need condoms. You should just.
Couldn't you get a little sign for your hijab saying hello, boys? So they know that you're one of the fun ones. Is that your dilemma? You want a dick, but the dick sees you and thinks, I probably should leave her out of respect.
Yeah.
I don't want to upset her or her mates.
But it's like on the spectrum of respect, it's like almost too respectful.
Right. The dick is very nervous. The dick likes to feel encouraged. That's the thing. The male ego
dick is-
likes to feel welcome.
Anyway. So you
Okay, can I ask you a question?
Of course.
So how do you?
Would you like a
feel-
donut, by the way?
No, Edmund, please have one yourself. How would you feel about somebody looking at your partner or wife,
In what way?
sexual way?
You don't want to know what would happen. All due respect.
So do you feel like you prefer a woman who is dressed a little bit more conservatively, or
I don't care what the fuck she's wearing. If any guy of any kind passes a fucking glance at my wife in public, they're going to be taken care of.
So you'd prefer her to be dressed a little more conservatively because they're less likely to look.
But it's not
Believe
about her. It's about the geezers disrespecting you. She can wear what the fuck she wants. She can wear a mini skirt, low cut top,
Yeah.
shut bra.
But some guys like other guys to know what they've got.
You're talking about cucks here. I know about cucks.
I don't know
I'm not
much
a
about
cuck.
cooks.
I'm not a cuck. Anyway,
Do you like being part of a religion that makes people shit themselves?
That's a funny thing. I don't feel like anyone's scared of me, which is a shame. I wouldn't mind if I got a bit of street cred from being Muslim. I fucking don't.
You don't feel like people are a bit wary?
People have selective fear around like situations. So like when it's in the news a lot, if there's been like a recent bombing, people will be a little bit more like jumpy around, Muslims or whatever. But
but Islam is very popular. It's growing in popularity. A lot of people, a lot of white guys over here are joining Islam.
Really?
A lot of gingers.
Yeah,
Why
redheads.
Because ginger people probably feel like they are treated a little bit like an outsider.
Right.
And Islam is a really loving, inclusive religion, which like doesn't matter what hair color you've got. You should, you're all like, you're not discriminated by anything.
So God doesn't see hair colour.
No.
That's nice.
That's very nice.
I find a lot of people tend to convert like later on, like Mike Tyson and Sinead O'Connor had converted.
Right. Well, that worked out well.
When you put your book out,
Yeah.
because of the nature of what was discussed, you said you had a bit of backlash from the Muslim community.
I feel like I'm talking about topics that don't often get a lot of airtime, and maybe they feel that it's inappropriate. But it's, I think also women suffer when certain topics don't get discussed or are considered taboo, as you mentioned earlier.
Very insightful. And that does happen with a lot of women in religion. Their sexuality is not discussed, and then what they end up with is getting banged every night by some accountant who wears a fucking Marks and Spencer's jumper, and they're just disappointed and sad for the rest of their life, but they've been worn down and they think that's all they deserve. And we don't want that for you.
No, I don't really like accountants.
Are you single at the moment?
No,
That sounded like a maybe.
Are you getting dick?
I will be.
Oh.
You got dick in the post. Here's an Islam fact. I read that Muhammad, peace be upon him, invented the toothbrush.
I think, with the miswak.
Right.
Yeah.
And
That's
I also
incredible.
heard, I was researching the Quran, apparently when you're over there, back in the day, to wipe your ass, you had to use smooth stones.
Like I remember Dr. Bilal Phillips was telling people that you don't need to wipe your ass with the stones anymore because we have like water and we have like, access to other cleaning products. So don't have to go, because some people, they love the faith, right? And then they know that this is how it used to be done. But where there's modifications, you're allowed to kind of adapt.
That's right. I find that Islam, there are a lot of contradictions as people try and unravel and analyze what's going on. A lot of complexities, like, for example, Muhammad, peace be upon him.
Peace be upon him.
His name actually contains the word ham. And you're not allowed to eat that. Isn't that interesting?
It's almost like a test within his name.
Because you're seeing it every time.
But
It's
we've-
triggering if you wanted to...
Triggering.
Is it not? But this is what I mean. That this is what we're trying to discuss here, because there's a lot of misconceptions and misunderstandings, like Islamophobia. Where do you stand on the term Islamophobia?
I think it's interesting that it was a recent kind of new word, you could say, versus like when we were growing up, there was no such term.
What was it called back then?
Racism?
Right.
Right.
But this is the thing with Islamophobia. It's about a phobia. It's a fear. Hypothetically, right?
I don't-
What about if you wouldn't have a phobia of just a guy just walking down the street, minding his own business. But if you saw a guy on a pickup truck, Gatling gun, a couple of heads rolling around, would I be allowed to be fearful of that?
I think it's what you do with the fear that counts.
Run away?
What I mind is when someone has encouraged someone, i.e. the media encourages somebody who doesn't understand Islam to be fearful, and then they're fearful because they've been taught that. I think...
Primed like a dog.
That was raised Catholic. Right? And for me personally, I'm really looking forward to a very well-timed deathbed confessional, because it's going to absolve me of all my sins, which, of course, there were many.
I want to ask you some questions about sex, with that being a theme of the book. You say you can tell a lot about a man by the way he gives head. In a way, all you need to know. What do you mean by that, Sam?
Because there's some guys who don't want to give head, and you need to leave them alone.
You also say sex is always better with a healthy dose of animosity. What do you mean by that?
You know, like it needs to be a bit rough, like a little bit passionate.
Okay.
What's the difference between passionate and rough? We got to make sure our incels know the
I
difference.
feel like rough needs to be like, you should be in a agreement about you with your partner. You should communicate well. You can't just like start choking someone.
Oh no, don't be
Without permission.
Without permission.
don't be choking nobody.
But actually, if you say to someone, "Can I choke you?" they might say no. But if you start choking them, they might say, "Actually, I'm quite enjoying this."
Well, I guess you'd start off
A gentle choke.
Yeah.
And then go from there.
All right, how about this? Music is haram, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know how they decide who does the call to prayer, but maybe there could be a television program, Imam's Got Talent, And then you get all the imams together singing the call to prayer. You choose the best one.
Do you think DJ Khaled should be part of it?
Absolutely. My favorite Muslim. He's very inspirational.
You say in your book, many of us know terrible industry secrets, but there is no outlet.
Oh, yeah. Industry.
Like the
Now,
Russell
you've got
Brand.
an outlet here. What are the industry
Yeah,
secrets?
tell us about him.
I heard bad things about.
Oh,
Okay.
Jesus Christ. Now we're cooking with gas. That will be one for the Patreon
Oh.
subscribers.
That's a fucking
Hey.
perverted behaviour.
All right, we're not going to get any more sexual
was a
perverts.
trap.
I got one question, though. I heard that your episode of the Off Menu podcast, it got taken off. What happened there?
I thought it was funny, but unfortunately, when you ask for semen, which is what I asked for, the episode got canned.
So you asked for semen as one of your dishes. They don't have a sense of humor. People like to eat jizz. It's 2024, for fuck's sake.
And that sort of says it all about inclusivity, because I'm sure they were patting themselves on the back when they booked you. And then when it came to saying what you actually wanted to say, they were like, well, no, that's not what we want from our brown woman with a headscarf. We want her to be repressed. She says she likes eating ass and drinking jizz.
Yeah.
It doesn't get aired.
They wanted an inclusivity booking, but when it turns out that you like a delicious plate of jizz, somehow a line has been crossed.
Maybe it was because obviously I'm quite comfortable with these topics and they weren't.
I guess it's a family-friendly show.
It could have been handled a little bit better because nobody told me that the episode had been cancelled. But the producer and my agent failed to tell me. And then for 18 months, every week, I thought my Jizz episode is going to come out. And nobody bothered to tell me. And then I finally found out. And then my agent dropped me. And the thing is,
This is the thing, right, with inclusivity. Sorry to interrupt, okay? It's all well and good being inclusive. You can get your people. You get a queer, you get a Muslim, you get a Zionist. You get everybody together, right? But on top of it, at the top of the chain, who do you have? It's an old white guy. Every fucking time.
I guess people need to start booking me on the Jizz eating front, not just the brown girl front.
Right.
Well, we said it here.
Their expectation.
We would never
Stop me from.
cancel this podcast because you say you like to enjoy a plate of jizz. That's your choice.
Yeah,
And
but
we
you
can-
should get them on because they're funny and you
I
guys
don't want
are
them.
funny.
We don't want wet wipes. They haven't got a backstory. We like people with a fucking backstory, with a narrative, who's gone through grief.
These
You don't-
fucking white motherfuckers. These motherfucking
Silencing a woman.
I really like them.
motherfucker.
Can you do an impression of someone who don't like you doing an impression of you?
Oh, okay. I'm Sadia. I like to eat jizz.
That'll be one to clip up.
That's perfect. That's going out. Do an impression of what you think white feminist podcasters want you to say when they bring you on their pod.
Nice.
I'm so repressed. I am so repressed. I need a white savior. Oh no, you're going to use that and it's going to go viral for the wrong reasons.
Let's hope so.
We got to do a quick rumour. Is there any rumours you'd like to spread on the circuit?
Spread another rumor about
Anything at all?
Joe Jacobs has a massive dick.
he's a comedian
Yeah,
and he's got a.
a massive dick.
I don't know him, but I got a feel he seems like a very funny guy.
Just get him on the pod.
I think we should.
I doubt Acaster and Gamble have big dicks.
I think.
I've heard Acast. I knew nothing.
What did you hear?
Nothing.
I
I'm
think
not
he's got.
talking about it.
I think he's got a long, thin one. All right, I got some quick fire questions for you. Yoga mat or prayer mat?
Let's go promo.
Prayer mat. 50 lashes or false lashes?
False lashes.
Fingering or oral?
Oral.
Eating ass or eating chicken biryani?
Chicken biryani.
Anal or reading the comments of your videos?
Anal.
Shouting about God through a megaphone helps or hinders?
Me, both.
Interesting.
Who's better in bed, Sunnis or Shiites?
Sunnis.
Dinner party with a white feminist woman or dinner party with the English Defence League?
EDL.
Right, I want to start a rumour. Roy Walker from Catchphrase, still dining out on his fame, does a little after dinners, chats at pubs, student unions. Apparently, he sends his people out to choose the 10 prettiest people from the crowd, brings them out backstage, lines them up, boilers and their daughters usually, and he goes up to them and says, "It's good, but it's not there. It's good, but it's not there. It's good, but it's not there." And then he spots the one he likes, Right. Come backstage to have a word with Mr. Chips.
Terrible.
Sadia, you've been an absolute delight.
Sex Bomb. The Life and Love of an Asian Babe. It's out now. Subscribe and like to the podcast for more. Subscribe.